Thank you very much. I've been adjusting a little bit longer. I've been back now for about 6 years. I didn't tell you that, but there's some timeline. But I was asked to talk about three things: a bit of personal background, who is HPE Growth Capital, and then what are we looking for in investments. So on the personal side, like you mentioned, I live in Amsterdam with my wife and 3 kids, and that I see as my primary job, to make sure that they are all doing well. Investors are people too, as it turns out. And professionally, I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, so I've been in and around entrepreneurship all of my life. After university, I saw an opportunity to move to Silicon Valley, and I packed my bags, moved there, and I got a job at an investment banking firm that was very active in managing technology company IPOs. So over the course of several years, I worked on 13 IPOs of companies that were going public and seeking to use the capital market to fund further growth. That's something that obviously exists in Europe, but it's not quite as active as it is there. I then really sort of saw a chance to fill a gap in a market and launched a online software distribution company with a team of people, and that was really sort of my first real sort of own entrepreneurship experience. We went through the same thing you went through as you sort of started to grow the business, which is hiring a team and eventually going through some venture rounds. We attracted Kleiner Perkins, Technology Crossover Ventures, and Canaan Partners, which are all great VCs to work with, and ultimately grew the business to north of 120 million in revenues, and then we're able to take it public ourselves on the NASDAQ. So it was a great, lucky experience. We also had the wind in our backs. There was a great time to be doing this in the late 90s, early 2000s. Then I moved more to the investment side, but still a bit entrepreneurially. So a large private equity firm called Texas Pacific Group, known as TPG, wanted to also be in growth investing, and 2 other partners and I launched what is now known as TPG Growth. And at the time, what we were doing was 10 to 30 million investments in terms of ticket size, and helping companies kind of beyond the first venture stage get funded for further growth. So let's say the technology, the product was proven, and the company needed more capital to scale geographically, product-wise, build a larger team. And we did that successfully. And what you see is that a lot of those firms who have done that successfully, like my old firm, TPG, have scaled their funds, have larger funds, now would like to focus more on sort of 50 to 150 million investments. TPG invested in Uber, Airbnb, Box, and those are all fairly large investments. Same thing happened here a bit in Europe. You have great firms like Summit, General Atlantic, who have simply, by their success, grown to somewhat larger investments. Not that they wouldn't do smaller investments also, but we at HPE, we focus more on that segment between, let's say, the venture stage and a later, larger stage, whatever form that may come in. Some companies then either get sold, they want to go public, or they need to raise more money from larger firms. So, by way of introduction, HPE, we are a firm in existence since 2008. We have raised 2 funds. We're currently investing from our second fund. Total capital under management is about 500 million euros. And like I mentioned, we do sort of somewhere between 10 and 30 million investment size in technology companies in the Northern European region. We're based in Amsterdam. We have 15 people, 4 partners with various backgrounds, as I just mentioned, some more like me, either a mix of deal making and entrepreneurship, others more from a pure investment background, like General Atlantic, like Morgan Stanley, and like TPG. And when we say technology, we mean we will do more hardware and software investments. About 70% of our focus is on the software and internet side. 30% is more on hardware, where actually in today's world, a lot of the differentiation and the value add also comes from integrating software into a hardware product offering. What is important is that when we invest, we really would like to see a company already prove that the product has real value to customers, which is simply measurable by the customer uptake, the pricing, and we can talk to customers who basically say, yeah, this is a product we really value, we want to buy more of it, etc. So usually that translates into about 10 million or more in revenues. Unless it's a recurring revenue model, in that case, we will look at companies that are 5 million or greater, simply because it's a bit more predictable. Most importantly, like everybody, and we have some definitions around this, we really look to highly qualified entrepreneurs, people who understand their sector really well and are true sector experts. We don't run the business, so we want to make sure that we're working with somebody who really does, and who have had prior success, but are still very driven to continue their success. 8 out of the 11 investments we've made across the 2 funds are in Germany, so this is really our core market. One interesting thing of note that is kind of timely and interesting, so our portfolio companies have raised over 500 million after our investment collectively over the last 2.5 years. And I'd love to claim credit for that, but it's obviously a joint effort. But one of the unique experiences that we have is leveraging our network and knowledge to help companies scale globally, particularly also to the US.
Great, thank you so much.
Yep, you're welcome.
To cut you off.